Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a 10-game Major League Baseball slate. There is some weather throughout this slate, so do keep that in mind. You will need to check weather reports close to these games. The Houston-Cleveland game was also moved back, so that makes the slate start at 12:40 Eastern instead of 1:30 like it was originally supposed to, so do keep that in mind. I do have some core plays at Gosman at pitcher, Naylor at first base, and then Mookie Betts who can play first base or second base or outfield. Excuse me, second base or outfield. Let's look at our pitchers first here. Gosman is my favorite P1 option. He is also the most expensive option, but he does draw some really good upside in this matchup, and he's got a really high K rate against a team that gets a lot that strikes out a lot. McClanahan and Keller are both in play as contrarian options, though they do face tougher matchups, and I do like some players from those games. Then we'll look at our P2 options, and Goelito and Peralta are the top two as they face the best matchup metrics, and they have good upside potential. Then we'll have some contrarian options in Garrett, Green, Elder, and Gibson. They all face decent upside games here, with Green probably having the best K rate, but they all have some upside here. Though Garrett's probably my least favorite of these four, and Elder is the most expensive of them, and Elder does have some nice upside as well. And then a Hail Mary option is Carrasco, who's just very dirt cheap. He does have a tough matchup, and he doesn't have a much K rate, but he definitely has Hail Mary potential here. So that's what I have for pitchers. Let's get into our batters. I'm going to kind of move through these pretty quickly because of the time crunch here. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Will Smith and Adley Rutschman are my top two overall plays, as they have good metrics for these games and they have great upside. They are virtually identical in metrics. Sean Murphy's a little bit cheaper. He definitely has some good upside here, but he's still a little bit riskier than some of the other options. And then Francisco Alvarez is a great good option here for him as he's hit a lot of home runs lately. He has good potential, but he's high risk, high reward as it is a tough matchup for him. You could also consider Mitch Garver and William Contreras at this position. Maybe in the first base, Freddie Freeman is the top overall play. A Dodger stack is definitely viable today, but they are going to be hard to roster as they are very expensive today. Then Josh Naylor is in play as he's a very nice cheap option and he has great metrics for this game. I think a home run is likely today here, and he hasn't had one in a few games, but he has been hitting home runs throughout the season, and he's had 5 straight really good fantasy games. And then Andrew Vaughn is also in play as a contrarian option for the White Sox. Now, he does face a tough matchup, but he has home run potential, and he's hitting the ball up and down throughout the season, and I like his upside, though, in this matchup. You could also consider Ryan Noda, Vlad Jr., Matt Olson, and Yandy Diaz at this position. Maybe in the second base, and Mookie Betts is the top option. He's also a great option at outfield. He's going to be hard to do that Dodger stack, but he has home run potential here, and he's hitting the ball extremely well lately. Jeff McNeil is in play as a contrarian option, as a cheap option here, though he's high risk, high reward, kind of a Hail Mary option almost, as he definitely has not. He definitely doesn't have a ton of home run potential, but he does have some decent hitting upside. And then Ozzy Albies is a good contrarian from Mookie Betts, if you want to go that way. He's hit the ball extremely well lately. He's got really nice upside, and he's even hitting home runs, so that's always a nice advantage. And this is probably about the best matchups he's had this week. Also consider Jose Altuve and Luis Arias at this position. I definitely like Mets at second base more than outfield, but he's viable in both. Then we'll look at third base, and we'll look at Jose Ramirez for Cleveland. He has really good metrics here. He's almost a core play for me today as he's had some massively good games lately. I do like his upside quite a bit here. Austin Riley is a very contrarian option. He's hit the ball pretty well throughout the season, and he has home run potential in this matchup, and he's a good contrarian to Jose Ramirez. If you want to go cheap here, Gunnar Henderson is a great option as he has hit the ball extremely well lately, and he has nice upside here. He's had some home runs in the last couple games as well, and he's been stealing some bases, so that definitely draws him some good upside. And then Berger for the White Sox, he has home run metrics in this matchup. He's not a great hitter, but he has good home run potential sometimes, and this is definitely a game where he draws that. You could also consider Josh Jung and Isaac Paredes here. Moving into shortstops, we're going to look at Trey Turner for Philly. He draws some really good metrics here, though he's high risk, high reward. His home run potential is okay, but he definitely is a little bit overpriced. Tim Anderson is actually pretty fairly priced here, though it is a little bit of a risky matchup. He definitely draws some upside here. He also has stolen base potential, and his prices come back down a little bit probably due to the fact he hasn't hit the ball all that great so far at home. And then LA De La Cruz, who is just price keeps bumping up because of how good he's playing. He's actually can play third or shortstop today, but I think he's much better at short since it's a much weaker position, and he has hit the ball extremely well this season. He has nice upside and good potential in this one. Then we'll look at also consider Wander Franco, Matt McLean, and Bo Bichette at this position as well. Maybe in the outfielders, we're going to look at Acuna as a top play. He is a great option on the slate. He has hit the ball extremely well lately. He has nice home run potential, and I like his upside, also stolen base potential. Mookie Betts can also play this position. Or Zarnia for Tampa Bay also is in play. He's a little bit cheaper than Acuna, which is nice, and he draws some really good metrics for this matchup, and he also has home run potential. Then Luis Robert Jr., he's kind of the riskiest top play for me, as he has home run potential, but the batting average is not as good, and so he's a little bit high risk, high reward here. But he does draw some good matchup metrics. Then for some value plays, Brandon Nemo's in play. He has some really good upside here. He hasn't hit the ball particularly great, but he has good potential in this one. Not really home run potential, but just good fantasy point potential. Castellanos for Philly has drawn really good matchup metrics here. He's hitting the ball well, and I like his upside. He has home run potential occasionally, and he definitely draws that in this particular start. Quan for Cleveland is in play here. He draws some nice metrics, not home run metrics, but good just hitting metrics. He's hitting the ball really well lately. He's scoring fantasy points, and he has stolen base potential if he gets on. Varsho for Toronto also draws some nice metrics here. Though he hasn't hit the ball well this season, he is hitting better lately, and that gives him some utility and home run potential. Then we'll look at Sawinski for Pittsburgh. He draws some nice upside here, as he has hit the ball pretty well home run wise this season. Though he is somewhat boom or bust most of the time, and he definitely has the home run potential here. Michael Harris is also in play for Atlanta, and he's finally starting to hit the ball better recently the last few games. Now he did have 2 straight games where he didn't do much, but he didn't have a strikeout, except he's only had 1 strikeout in the last 2 games, and he seems like he's gotten that under control some now. So it's just a matter of getting the balls to go over the wall now, which he is starting to do. So I do like his potential here. He also does have stolen base potential if he can get on base. You could also consider George Springer, Harold Ramirez, and Manuel Margot here. Overall, this slate is kind of wonky, but obviously there's some weather concerns, but overall it's a decent slate. Good options in the pitchers, good options across the board in the bats. So with that said, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below, and have a nice day, guys.